You're listening to the Weekend Sports Buzz with Tyler Boyd, Mark Blankenbaker. Let us know what you think. Give us a call on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line at 384-1450.
Welcome into the Weekend Sports Buzz. Saturday, October 13th. We got a good show lined up for you all today. Myself, Tyler Boyd, as always. I think we're going to get Mark Blankenbaker on the line. He is currently in Pittsburgh for today's Louisville and Pittsburgh game that gets kicked off here in less than 2 hours, actually. It's 9:04. And the opening kickoff is 11 o'clock at Heinz Field. Louisville will be taking on Pittsburgh. Obviously, the Cardinals are still with that undefeated record. Pittsburgh coming into today, not the best season. We're going to talk to Mark a lot about that in this first hour, if he will ever answer his phone. And then in the second hour, we'll talk to Inside the Press Boxes, Nick Coffey, at around 10:20 to, break down the game a little more. Talk a little bit about the U of L scrimmage that is going on as well today at 4 o'clock. It's a full day here for Louisville fans, and of course Kentucky does play as well today against Arkansas down in Arkansas. So it'll be a packed day. Last night was Big Blue Madness. I was out there. We'll talk about that. And if I'm correct, my man Mark Blankenbaker, CardsandCats.com, is on the line. Mark, what's up? Mark, I don't think he is there. We will get Mark on in a moment. Anyways, of course, the Weekend Sports Buzz here on 1450 AM is always brought to you by livingforless.org and Smart Shopper. Sorry, I was about to say Lotus Gunworks. That's our text line. Yeah, livingforless.org and Smart Shoppers. Get on livingforless.org. Check it out. A lot of good deals on there, half off around the city, southern Indiana, Kentucky area. Roosters, Wick's Pizza. Some golf outings out there. It's coming to an end, so that'll be good. So get on livingforus.org. Matt, do we have Mark? Is Mark on the line? Mark is not on the line. Mark is having some issues in Pittsburgh. I don't know what's going on, so we'll hope to get Mark back on. If not, it might be an all-UK show with me and Matt in the building. You don't know, my other intern, Adam, is here. We might talk gaming. I'm a gamer. It's good stuff. So it'll be a fun show. 384-1450. Give us a shout on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line. We'll talk about it. If you were out,
please leave me a message. And
we will leave Mark. Can I leave Mark a message? Can he hear me right now?
Message.
Mark, I really need you to.
Finished recording. You may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hey, Mark. This is Tyler, your co-host. I would really appreciate it if you answered your phone. We are live on the air here at 1450 AM, the Weekend Sports Buzz. So please, sir, give us a call, 384-1450. We appreciate it. Again, where was I? That kind of threw me off. Is that okay, what we just did? Is that okay? It's on you, Matt. It's not on me. I'm not the producer today. Mark just sent me a message. I don't think it's going to work. I have almost no signal at all. Can't we just call his cell phone? Or were you all trying to Skype it, Matt? Okay. Well, maybe not. We'll try to get Mark on. We got plenty of time today. So 384-1450. If you were at Big Blue Madness last night, call me. Let me know your thoughts of it. I had a hell of a night. You can also shoot us a text at 414-1450, the Lotus Gunworks text line. Speaking of guns, I'm just going to get it out there nice and early today. We're going to talk to my man Kenny here probably at 10 o'clock. He is from Knob Creek. It got kicked off last night, goes through today and tomorrow. 690 Ritchie Lane, West Point, Kentucky. The world's largest machine gun shoot is going on. You can actually get out there, rent a machine gun. I was listening yesterday to Kenny speak to Handsome Jimmy, the handsomest man in town, and Kelly Patrick, co-host of the Weekend Sports Buzz Sunday. He said there's going to be vendors out there with around 50 or so various machine guns. You can, down at the lower range, you can go out there, rent it. Load it up. Tell them how many shells you want to put down range. Blow up some stuff. There's refrigerators, propane tanks. I've been there. I shoot guns. It's a fun time. So if you've never done this before, you may want to get out there and try it out. We'll talk to Kenny a little bit more about that. It's a fun event. So again, Knob Creek Gun Range, West Point, Kentucky, all weekend long. Get out there. It's starting today. I believe it's $10 to get in. We will clarify that when we speak to Kenny here later on. But since it is just me right now, and I'm going to have to probably bring Matt in some because he is my Kentucky guy as well. Matt's been doing good things for us, a producing job. KentuckySports.co, 1450 to sportsbuzz.com. Get on there and check it out. Good stuff. He gave me the thumbs up. Is Mark on the line?
I'm here, Tyler.
Yes, Mark. What's going on, man?
Oh, man, signal is really great here at Heinz Field. I'm stepped outside. It's really cold.
Good.
Here in Pittsburgh.
Good. I'm going to force you to stay outside for another 50 minutes. Actually, it's not even 50 minutes, Mark. And we're going to talk Louisville, while you're on here, because that second hour we had a lot of Kentucky while I'm alone.
Yeah. Okay. No, man, it's a really bright, sunny day, and you can probably hear the Pitt band. I don't know how well you can hear my end, but the Pitt band's playing down there right at the base of the river, and everybody's getting real fired up. Walking in, a lot of people cooking breakfast out in the parking lots. This is an early start for a game, but we're gonna make it work. We'll get home sooner.
Yeah, exactly. Again, Mark Blankenbaker, he's on the line. He's my co-host every Saturday here on the Weekend Sports Buzz, cardsandcats.com. You can follow him on Twitter at cardsandcats.com. Mark is in Pittsburgh, like I said, to start the show. Heinz Field is today's game, 11 o'clock kickoff. I kind of like what you just said, a lot of breakfast being cooked. I'm a breakfast guy, so that's kind of a tailgate. I mean, everybody's going to drink their adult beverages no matter what time it is. So, but breakfast and football, I'm in.
Yeah, no, it's sausage and beer this morning. Some grits. It's a beautiful setting, really. I mean, if you've never been to Heinz Field, it's definitely one of the best pro football venues, and to be able to use it for college is even better. I don't have any scoop for you right now. The players haven't taken the field, as of yet, but still, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be a big day. If I'm correct, last night it was Kentucky's Big Blue Madness. It all got kicked off last night. Pittsburgh, they had a big event. They had a good crowd. If I'm correct, Jamie Dixon came out as Tropical Thunder head coach.
Oh, he did.
I can't remember his name for some reason.
Jamie Dixon's the head coach at Pitt, and this weekend is actually their homecoming. Louisville's their homecoming opponent. So there's a lot going on here in Pittsburgh this weekend, and we actually hung out with a bunch of University of Duquesne students last night at a bar. So it's kind of cool. There's a lot of college stuff going on in Pittsburgh, but a big Midnight Madness. It's never bigger anywhere than when it's at Kentucky. But, I think they kind of made it part of their homecoming festivities last night. Yeah,
it seems to be, it's a big weekend there. They know Louisville's in town, unbeaten Louisville, top 25 team, almost top 15 team now. They're slowly moving up those rankings. It was Jackie Moon. He came out as Jackie Moon. It was awesome. I did see some pictures of that. That's pretty cool. But yeah, like you said, you can't match Big Blue Madness. I will talk about that, Mark. I'm sure you didn't see any of it, or maybe some highlights online. I promise you, the intro to the men's and the women's were unreal. It was awesome. I'm sure ESPN probably had a lot to do with this because there's that all access going on. We'll talk about that later, though. I wanted to ask you, though.
Yeah.
11 o'clock, Mark. Yep. Pittsburgh coming off a win last week. They're a big weekend, a lot of momentum going their way at home. What do you think about today's game?
Well, they lost last week to Syracuse, but
oh, good. I'm wrong.
I think that I feel like they're desperate. They don't want to start 0-3 in the Big East play, which they will if they lose today. They really have a brand new coach in Paul Chryst, who, they beat Virginia Tech and lost to Youngstown State. Their two wins right now are against Virginia Tech and Gardner-Webb. So that's really kind of a big divergence in talent and teams and national stature. So
yeah,
It's one of those things where, okay, who's Pittsburgh? They have a really great running back in Ray Graham. They have a really great D lineman in Aaron Donald. And who's Pittsburgh? Are they the team that can't beat an FCS team, or are they the team that can be a perennial top 125 team? And I think, when you have a new coach, these type of things happen. I think having the game at 11 o'clock today is a disadvantage for Pitt. I think that their crowd will be smaller than it typically would be if it was a 3:30 or 7 o'clock start. It is cold.
It's sunny,
like
though.
I mentioned, it's probably 38 degrees right now where I'm standing, so I don't know how long I'm actually going to stand out here and talk to you. But
you do what you do for us, really Mark. You really do. We appreciate it.
I know, but the Cardinals really should do well. I mean, Senior Perry and Jeremy Wright have really done an excellent job running the football. And this is going to be a game where Louisville is really tested in their running defense. Nobody has really gone right at Louisville's run defense. They've kind of gone around it, thrown a lot of passes, screens, and really kind of caught them off guard with some big games. This Pittsburgh team's not going to do that. They're going to line up. They're going to run the ball. They're going to try to shove it straight down Louisville's throat because that's Paul Chrysa's personality. That's what he does, and that's what Louisville does, and that's what we're going to see who's the manlier team today. And we hope it's the Louisville Cardinals, but if not, we learned something more about Louisville and a little bit more about Pitt today.
Yeah, it is. I was thinking they're coming off that Virginia Tech win. That is right. They did lose. Virginia Tech is not the Virginia Tech your grandpa knows. I do know that, though. But regardless.
They play Big East teams.
Yeah, that's true, especially when they lose that. It's going to be, in my opinion, a sloppy start because of this early kickoff. I produced a Montreal Jones Power Hour Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday right here on 1450, and I asked him about this yesterday because he's been a part of it, obviously. Being Tennessee and Louisville, he had a 11 o'clock kickoff at both universities. He said it's a big difference. It is. The players are getting up earlier. Their routine is generally mostly the same, but it's just, that, Mark, it's an hour earlier. It's a little different to get hyped up for the game. And he said, yeah, he expects Louisville to be okay in this game, but it's going to be a sluggish start. And I would agree with him just because I don't like 11 o'clock kickoffs. I just don't.
No. Well, I actually think Teddy Bridgewater probably is going to come out throwing in this game. I think he's really been held in check for the past 2 weeks, actually past 3 weeks, because, you throw in a bye, you throw in a sloppy effort against FIU, and then you throw in the Gettysburg story from 2 weeks ago, and then a bye week. Teddy Bridgewater is probably looking to really break out and get back on the national folks' radar and just kind of restore some of his reputation. You got to feel like a guy works that hard and then for almost a month doesn't get any kind of run because, number one, he hasn't played, or he's played in monsoon, or he just had a bad game. So, I think Teddy Bridgewater is going to come out. I think they're going to go deep first series. I think they're going to try to score again. Louisville scored on the first series of every game except for one, so 4 out of 5 games so far. And I'm really looking for that to continue. And I'm thinking that they're going to catch Pitt napping a little early.
Yeah.
But it's all about stopping the run today for Louisville.
All right. Well, that's, of course, Mark Blankenbaker. He is in live Pittsburgh. Mark, you step inside for a minute. We are going to, warm up your toes and warm up your fingers. We're going to take a few-minute break real quick. Again, today we will be talking in the second hour to Nick Coffey from the Inside the Press Box, CardinalConnection.com, of course, right here on 1450, and also Eric Bachman, the host of the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour on Blog Talk Radio. He will join us. He is the winner of the 2011 KFFSC. I want to go to Vegas League, so it's good. He won a lot of cash. We're going to talk about that, what he did with his cash. I'm sure he blew it. It's going to be a fun day here. So, Mark, step inside. We'll be right back here on 1450.
Welcome back to the Weekend Sports Buzz. Tell us your thoughts on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line at 384-1450.
Yeah, go ahead.
Some nights I stay up, cashing in my bad luck. Some nights I call it a draw. Some nights I wish that my lips could build a castle. Some nights I wish they just fall off. But I still wake up.
We're back here, the Weekend Sports Buzz, live on 1450 AM. Myself, Tyler Boyd. Mark Blankenbaker, he's live from Heinz Field in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Mark, are you there? Mark, are you there? Mark? No, Mark is not there. I heard him.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Mark. There you are.
Can you hear?
Yes, sir.
Hey, what's going on? Yeah. Matt's behind the glass. He's messing with me again.
He is. He's doing a terrible job today. It's one of his awful jobs he's had in a year and a half. He really is. I think, Mark, you're just going to join us probably for about another 20 minutes, and then you're going to get on and get into the stadium here.
Can I explain myself?
Go, Matt.
We have to run Skype from the same computer as the rejoin. So if Mark talks in the background, the rejoin's also going to talk. I can't run it from the second computer anymore. So that's why you heard Mark in the background, why the rejoin was playing.
Rookie. I never had those issues.
Yeah, because Skype was working.
Matt's got to defend himself.
I've got to come up with new solutions.
Man, you got a good radio voice. You should come sit over here one day with me.
I know. Don't you think Matt should do more radio?
Yeah, I do. I think so, too. More Kentucky anyways. I'm okay with that.
Anyways, we got Carolina Steve on the line.
Carolina, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning from the number one redneck in this area.
I love to hear that on a Saturday morning, Carolina.
Well, the reason I say that, this week I caught myself watching Call of the Wild Man about Turtle Man in Kentucky and watching a show that has now become my favorite one, which is Duck Dynasty.
I love some Duck Dynasty. I'm a redneck right there with you, Carolina, so I'm not hating on you, my man.
So I saw something last night, too, about how the states got their shapes on History Channel, and it was redneck versus hillbilly, and I'm definitely a redneck, not a hillbilly.
There you go. That's good to know.
Yeah, last night, my team over here on this side of the river finished up perfect with their high school football season. They start their sectionals next week. Charlestown won 62-8, I believe, this time. Daniels, the quarterback, was unbelievable. Was like 12 for 14 for 230 yards and 4 TDs. So he stands a real good chance of being Player of the Year in the state of Indiana.
Wow, I know you give us the weekly update, and I'm glad you do because obviously the team's rolling. I wanted to ask you, Carolina, quickly here. We got a race going on tonight. I know last night Joey Logano won in the Nationwide. What's going on tonight around the left turns?
Well, we got a NASCAR race without Junior tonight.
That's right.
Junior suffered 2 concussions, and I think it's that he should have sat down after the first one and everything. He raced back in the day when he raced the number 8 Budweiser car.
Yep.
He raced with a concussion that he had gotten in California, and it's just too dangerous, especially with what we see with athletes in their later years and everything and all. But it's going to be a good step. Before I go, I got one thing to leave you with.
Okay.
What is wrong with this picture? Duke 5-1 in football. Kentucky 1-5 in football. Y'all have a nice day.
You too, Carolina. Mark, I can answer that pretty simply. Carolina, Duke's schedule is probably worse than Louisville's. Kentucky's is number 2 in the nation against 5 ranked teams because Western will probably be ranked this week.
Well, no, I mean, why does everything have to compare to Louisville? I mean, Duke's schedule's an absolute joke. If you look at the second half
it's not comparable. I agree.
Look at the second half of their schedule.
It's terrible.
Man, they're going to really have a hard way to go. I mean, they might get bowl eligible, but I don't know if they will. I mean, even at 5-1 right now, I mean, they're not that great, and they and I looked at the second half of their schedule because I heard somebody mentioned David Cutcliffe might be for the UK job, which I don't know. I mean, but I can't really get excited about David Cutcliffe, to be honest with you. He's kind of old, and I kind of want somebody young.
I don't want anybody from Duke.
Joker, why go old?
One thing I'll go if I could tell Mitch Barnhart and everybody, I don't want anybody from Duke. I don't care. I just don't.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah, that's
Nobody.
A good point. Yeah, no, we don't want anybody. If they set foot on campus at
smell.
any time in their life, we're pretty good with not getting them.
I'd rather be 1-5 than have a Duke coach. I'm sorry. I just despise Duke with all hate. I watch Louisville. I can talk Louisville. I obviously do that here in the Weekend Sports Buzz all the time. I can enjoy Louisville. I despise and hate all things Duke. So just get my rant out there.
Well, real quick.
Yeah.
Well, real quick. I mean, you look at Kentucky's schedule in comparison to Duke's. I mean, Kentucky, that they've played so far. I mean, today they're going to play a 2-4 Arkansas team, but until today, the teams that they've played have only lost 2 games, and one of those games Kentucky gave to Kent State. So my thing is, and the other one was Alabama and Western. So my thing is, if nobody else can beat these teams, why are we expecting Kentucky to beat these teams?
I agree.
Because you know what I mean. It's like okay, why are we putting all this pressure on Joker? You just played the
does this save Joker
schedule in the country?
Is this save Joker in your opinion? Does he get to stick around even with this terrible season? What it could end up with the low numbers in the crowd? Does it still save you?
I don't know if he deserves to, but I think it's the perfect storm to get removed.
Yeah.
With the tough schedule, and then you get all these injuries all over the field, not to mention at your quarterback position, you have 3 games in a row where you literally don't have any idea what to do at quarterback, the most important position on the field. And it's really an area where they couldn't afford to lose. And you know what? He got 2 stud freshmen. I mean, I think we've seen Jalen Whitlow and Patrick Tolles. We know that they're studs. We know that they're freshmen. And you can't really win a lot of games in the SEC with freshman quarterbacks, especially against a schedule where it's 29-2, for the combined schedules of the teams you've played. Nobody else in the country has been able to beat those teams. I don't know why the expectation is for this Kentucky team to beat these teams or Joker loses his job. I think Joker has done I don't feel like Joker's done a fantastic job at Kentucky. I just don't think he's done a horrible one. I just think this is possibly the perfect storm to lose your job, though.
Yeah, it is. I want to get on to Louisville, though, while I got you on the line here. Today's game, obviously, we got a little bit into the first segment there. Who do you think will have a big game today for Louisville, and, what are you expecting from the defense?
Okay, I think first I'll start with the defense.
Okay.
I think the defense is the key to this entire game, because I think Louisville, this is going to be a grinded-out game. There's not going to be a lot of points to be had. I think this game's going to live 20s or less, for the winning team. So, I really think that the defense has to be on its P's and Q's. They can't give up any big plays, which they haven't done this year. They need to make Tino Sinceri and the Pitt offense sustain drives. The problem with that is that they can't do that because they have Devin Street, Mike Shanahan, Ray Graham, Huey Graham, a really good skill player position on offense. Pitt's problem on offense is their offensive line. So the Louisville defense has to take advantage. They have to get in the backfield. It's something they have not done this year at all. They need to get in the backfield and make Pitt earn it on 2nd and 3rd down and get off the field. I think the player of the game, though, I think it will be Teddy Bridgewater because I think, Louisville's defense is always it's a collective effort. There's nobody really ever stands out to you on Louisville's defense. But Teddy Bridgewater, I think today breaks out of his little funk that he's been having for various reasons, and I think he's anxious to get off. And I think this is going to be a really tight game today. I think it's going to be a lot closer than a lot of people would expect. A 5-0 Louisville team going up against a 2-3 Pitt team. These teams are more evenly matched than many people realize. So I'm anxious about it. It is warming up here in Heinz Field. Thank God.
Good. I hear the band a little bit in the background. Just slight times I can hear the band is on the field, getting it going. So obviously they're priming, Mark. They're getting ready.
Oh, yeah. It's basically everybody's outside the stadium. I mean, the band's doing like this little thing for their alumni for homecoming outside the stadium. So what you're hearing is actually coming from outside. But Pitt is on the field warming up at the moment. And I haven't seen Louisville yet on the field. Yeah,
well, obviously, last week, Louisville, the bye week. They had a whole, plenty of time to get prepared for this game. I'm expecting them to finally come out and I know this isn't a signature win. We're Louisville. Welcome. We're finally here, 6-0. Because it's a down Pitt, but on the road, anything on the road, in a big-time environment, it's a good win to me. And I think this is a time that Louisville actually comes out and shows they're going to win by, 3, maybe even 4 touchdowns, in my honest opinion.
Wow, I mean, that would be impressive, and it would be a signature win if that happened. But conference wins on the road in college football are really difficult to come by. You have to be a superior team to go into somebody's house and take a win. So, that would be really impressive. And I know the first BCS standings come out tomorrow night.
Yes.
And Louisville needs to get poised, to be in there so that the Big East representative, if it is Louisville, Cincinnati, or Rutgers, those are the three main contenders right now, so that they're not outside the top 10 when it comes to selection process. So it's a big week for Big East football. There's a lot of ranked teams going head-to-head, and, there's a lot of room to be made up in the polls and national perception. So if they take care of business today in that type of fashion, I think Louisville's right where they need to be.
Yeah, you mentioned the BCS coming out tomorrow night. Where do you think Louisville will be placed in this? Obviously, if they win this game today, they'll move up a little bit in the rankings again. What do you think Louisville will, start out at the BCS?
Well, the real key to always the first BCS poll is to get into the top 15. If you're in the top 15 of the first BCS poll, you have a great opportunity to be in the top 5 if you win the rest of your schedules at the end of the season, and possibly even the top 2. I don't think Louisville's in that discussion. I don't think we can start that discussion right now. But really, to make your dreams happen, to be respectable, you need to be in the top 15 at the first poll at least.
Yeah, I think Louisville will be around the general area of 12, 13, maybe 14. I think they will be in that top 15. I think the numbers and however all that system works, I don't even really know.
Well, one of the things that's weird is that there's a lot of people in the Harris poll who actually aren't ranking Louisville right now. I mean, I know there's one AP voter that writes for Notre Dame that still has not ranked Louisville at all in the top 25. There's some Harris poll voters that are doing the same thing. They're voting Cal and Wisconsin in, which there's absolutely no plausible reason to do that at this point. So really, Louisville's having to work through some conference bias in the Harris polls, but the good thing is that the computers like Louisville for where they are in the coaches poll, and the coaches respect other coaches winning football games. So thank God it's not left up to writers and people who haven't been in college football for 20 years like the Harris poll. So.
Yeah, Mark Blankbaker, you're in Pittsburgh. How long have you been there? About a day or two now?
We got here late last night.
Okay.
Went over to the North Shore.
There you go. Is there? I mean, have you heard any chatter of from fans around the Pittsburgh of what they're thinking of today's game, or have you heard maybe any radio talk at all?
No. I mean, for the most part, everybody's just waiting on giving Paul Christ a pass on the season, pretty much to kind of build a foundation. If you think about it, they fired Dave Wannstedt at the end of the 2010 season, and they hired Mike Haywood. And then 12 days later, he was fired after an assault charge was filed against him.
I remember that. That is correct.
And then they hired Todd Graham for 1 year. He was here for a season before he went to Arizona State. So really, this is the fourth coach in less than 2 years that Pitt has had. And so there's just some really inconsistency from a leadership perspective in this program. And I feel like the Pitt fans are really kind of giving, Coach Christ a pass for the 2012 season to kind of, reestablish the base. And, whatever happens that's good is great. Whatever happens is bad is just the way it's going to be. But I think that this Pitt team has a lot of potential. They have a lot of very, very, very talented players. They just haven't had a lot of consistency in terms of style, in terms of, leadership and coaches and things like that. I mean, and at the college level, that's huge.
Yeah, I was actually in Pittsburgh, Mark, the day Dave Wannstedt got hired. I was there, it was the Christmas time of 2005, I believe it was, and I went to the Pitt game that night. And next thing you know, at halftime, here comes Dave Wannstedt introducing their new head coach, Dave Wannstedt. The crowd, Mark, I've never heard, it's a smaller arena, really, they're crazy there. They call it the Zoo. They went nuts. It's like a turning of an era for him. Dave Wannstedt's here. Dave Wannstedt, the man. He didn't do anything.
Nah, the only good thing Dave Wannstedt did was recruit.
Yeah.
He didn't coach. I mean, he's like the ultimate, good enough to stay around for a little while, but bad enough to never really get you anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with you.
He's the guy that can go 7-5 8-4 every year, and that's fans just don't want to see that. Like once it's recognized that that's who you are, then they're going to try to find the next guy. That's what Pitt did.
I think Chris is a good hire.
I completely agree. I think Paul Chris is going to be great for the University of Pittsburgh long term. He brings a really blue-collar style of football with him from a lot of different places, like Wisconsin, which is his most recent place. But he's been out other places. His resume is extremely impressive. The man knows how to coach football, and this is the type of football that Pitt fans are accustomed to seeing in the Steelers town. It's really very reminiscent of that style, and I think that's going to fit really well with this fan base. I think one of the main things Pitt's missing right now is their own identity in their own home. They play at Heinz Field, which is the Pittsburgh Steelers stadium. They really lost that when they tore down Pitt Stadium to build their basketball arena, their multi-purpose facility.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is really too big of a stadium for probably 95% of college football teams. And so to have a stadium that looks half empty, but you have a huge number of fans, and then when you're bad, you don't have hardly anybody there, and it looks even worse. It's really a tough place, I think, in my opinion, to continue to play. And until Pitt builds an on-campus stadium, I think they may just be middle of the road.
Yeah, I'm with you. If anybody wants to give us a shout, Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzzline, 384-1450. Lotus Gunworks text line. You can shoot Matt a text, vulgar, kind, whatever you thinking, whatever is on your mind. 414-1450, the text line. Do so. Mark, before I let you go here, I wanted to, Saturday, it's not just Louisville, it's not just Kentucky, it's college football day. There's a lot of, games going on. Western Kentucky started it out earlier in the week, beating Troy, bumping up their record a little bit. They're just, continuing to roll, getting it done over there in Bowling Green. I'm happy for them. But other games, getting a little loud there in Pittsburgh, getting some squelch in the headphones.
Sorry. Sorry about that. But, yeah, Western, they won a conference game on the road against a traditionally extremely tough Troy team. Troy isn't shy about playing anybody. And they usually give some SEC teams a really tough run. They've beaten Mississippi State a couple times. So that's no joke. I'm really excited actually for a Sun Belt game when Louisiana Monroe is Western Kentucky.
It'll be interesting.
I think that's
that'll be an awesome game. When Louisiana Monroe's offense is off the charts, the way they run stuff, I'm excited for that too. Texas, Oklahoma, 15-13 today. Stanford and Notre Dame, 7-17. A lot of conferences going on. Florida, Vanderbilt, obviously. Big East, Mark, Cincinnati, number 21, is playing against an unranked team. Moving on, probably the game of the day, number 3, South Carolina versus number 9, LSU. And we dropped Mark. It's fine. It's fine, Mark. Just go ahead and drop us when you're talking. He's probably not going to get back on. Mark's got to get into the game. But I was mentioning the scores, the schedule there. We have South Carolina and LSU, the game of the day, in my opinion, number 3 versus number 9. We're really looking for South Carolina, Connor Shaw and the quarterback committee, depending on what quarter he gets hurt, what play he gets hurt, coming out and winning this game. They looked good last week. They really did. They came out against Georgia and blew them out. It was ugly in the first quarter, and they never looked back. LSU, great defense. Everybody knows that. Les Miles and that defense are always going to be up to par. One of the best in the country, top 5. Last week showed it. They held Florida. But they couldn't score, and I really don't see them scoring against South Carolina. So I think I'm going to take South Carolina in the big game of the day. We have a couple other SEC, Tennessee, Mississippi State, Texas A&M taking on number 23, Louisiana Tech. How about that? Louisiana Tech getting ranked for the first time, I believe, in a long while, maybe history, if I read the bottom line right. I'm not for sure. Anyways, let's go ahead and hop to that break. Coming on in that next segment here, I'm going to get Rashawn Myers on. He missed yesterday's show in the Mason and Myers in the morning, so I want to get his thoughts of today's Louisville game and a little bit about today's Louisville scrimmage as well. So stick with us. We'll be right back here on the Weekend Sports Buzz.
It's the Weekend Sports Buzz. Call in on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line at 384-1450.
We're back here at the Weekend Sports Buzz. 384-1450, the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line. 414-414-1450. Shoot Matt a text on the Lotus Gunworks text line. We'll read it right here across the air. Shoot your prediction scores for today's Louisville-Pittsburgh game, Kentucky-Arkansas game. And, of course, October 15th through the 21st, starting Monday. If you're feeling a little deflated, Oxmoor's Ford Service has rebates up to $120 on a set of 4 tires, including BF Goodrich, Goodyear, Dunlop, Michelin, and much more. Servicing all makes and models. Call 329-8850 for details. Again, that is the Oxmoor Ford Service. Quick lane, they'll hook you up. I'm glad to have them a big time part of 1450 here to Sports Buzz. And another big part of 1450 to Sports Buzz, the most diabolical man east of the Mississippi, host of the Mason and Myers in the morning here on 1450, Rashawn Myers. Rashawn, good morning to you.
Tyler, how are you doing this morning, sir?
You know, I came off the Big Blue Madness last night, and I'm having a great morning, sir.
I bet you are. I did not get to check out much of the madness last night. Of course, the Kentucky fans were out and in full regalia. They're getting ready for the season. I'm just glad basketball is back. I watched ESPNU's Midnight Madness all night, so I'm definitely ready to start seeing some basketball. I can't wait for this afternoon.
Now, let me ask you before we get into a little bit of today's game. Does basketball, your preseason number one, your possible back-to-back Final Four national championship caliber team, does that kind of take away from just what you're doing on the gridiron?
Well, you know me. Kentucky, of course, will always be a basketball state, and basketball is my number one love, my passion,
okay.
Regardless of whether it be college basketball, NBA. So there's no doubt there's a lot of anticipation behind the basketball. And as you know, the one of the quirkiest stats of all time, Louisville has never played a regular season basketball game ranked as the number one team in the country.
That is right.
Even though they've won.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, even though they've won 2 national championships and they've, had tons of very good teams, they've never played an actual regular season game as number one. So I'm ready to break the streak, Tyler. I'm ready to see that streak go down.
Yeah, it probably will go down this year, especially if they are preseason number one. It's going down right away. But they will probably lose that preseason number one come December 29th, 4 o'clock. In the Yum Center as Kentucky comes in and takes on your Cards and knocks them off 1-2, I'm expecting.
Yeah, you can expect that. But I tell you what, the fact that both of these teams are going to get tested early, I don't know if either one of those two teams comes into that game undefeated. Of course, Kentucky starts out with Maryland. They have Duke. And some other tough opponents early. Louisville has, of course, that battle for Atlantis. They're going to go on the road and play some tough games as well. So I don't know if either one of those two guys are going to go into that, into that match undefeated. But I cannot wait. I don't care if it's a scrimmage. I don't care if it's going down to the park and just throwing the ball up in there. I'm ready for some basketball.
I am too. We're both on the same page. I am a basketball fanatic when it comes to college basketball. I enjoy the NBA as well. Not as much as you, obviously. You're a big NBA guy, but I love college basketball. I like college football too. I like sports. As Wawa Jones would say, whatever sport's going down, I'm involved with it. Unless it's something that I just can't do, which there's nothing, Rashawn. I can do it all.
Oh, no, I know that. If there's something going on, I'll watch golf, I'll watch tennis, but definitely once August comes around and spring practice kicks off and you got the football getting going, it's funny because football reminds me that basketball is not too far away. So I love football, but all that means is it's closer to basketball season.
I will say this has been the quickest off-season I've had since 1998 to 99. It just flew by just like that. I wonder why championships do that to you. But, let me ask you this. Kentucky, Indiana, Louisville, they all, I see Kentucky's Big Blue Madness got kicked off yesterday. I don't even know what Indiana does. Hoosiers, stupid stuff.
Hoosier hysteria.
Did they copy off hysteria? There's so many hysterias out there. But Louisville, they get it kicked off today, 4:00. The scrimmage. What are you looking forward to today? Because obviously it's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be helmet-to-helmet contact type of basketball practice, but you never know.
Oh, well, Coach Pitino always the one thing about their practice, and they're going to do a full game. Coach Pitino's not even calling it a scrimmage; he's calling it a game.
Okay.
But they're going to have a full game, referees, and Louisville gets after it. I mean, there's no dunks, there's no free dunks, there's no free layups. These guys will go out there and try to kill themselves. And
that's not good.
Sometimes that you can. Yeah, exactly. You've had guys get injured. I've seen David Padgett go down with a knee injury in a practice setting. I've seen some guys get banged up. So, I mean, it's a little bit scary for the fans because guys, they get physical in these types of games. But it's a good chance to see what these guys can really do. Coach Pitino's done a good job of splitting up the teams. So I'm just ready to see these guys get out there and get going. Probably the guy that I want to see physically is Gorgie Zhang, just because people talk so much about him at the Adidas Nations with how much bigger he was than he was last year. I mean, they were saying that this guy rivaled Patrick Young when it came to his physical ability and his physical prowess. So if he's that big, because of course, Patrick Young looks like a freaking
he's a monster.
Greek Adonis.
Yes.
Yeah. So if Gorgie's gained that much weight and he still has his speed and quickness, that's going to be something that I really, really am excited to see.
Yeah, I had a call over the week. I filled in for some shows, and in Montreal, they were asking about Gorgie Zhang and, obviously Anthony Davis comparison. And then Nerlens Noel, and they were just saying, who do you think would be better? And I think Zhang will be the best big man in the country this year. I don't like saying that for a Louisville guy, but I honestly do. Second in the blocks last year behind what is one of the best college players in 10, 15 years, Anthony Davis. Now you get a whole another year, like you just said, another 20, maybe 25 pounds of muscle. I expect Gorgie to be a All-American.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think that's probably been one of the biggest things that I've had an issue with all these preseason magazines and all this preseason hype. I have not seen one preseason publication put Gorgie Zhang as a All-American first, second, or third team on any list, not one. And I think that is an absolute crime. I've seen Nerlens Noel play second-team All-American on several lists. I've seen Jeff Withey, and I think that Gorgie is a better player than all of those guys. I mean, he's a guy that has not been given the type of respect that I expect he should have gotten since he's gotten to Louisville. I think that these African players, I think a lot of times they come over, they're seen as raw players that don't have a lot of skill, but Gorgie has a great amount of skill. He's always been an outstanding defensive player. He's an underrated offensive player. I do think that he's going to be probably the best big man in the country this year. I think there's no doubt about it.
Yeah, there's select guys I like that put on the red and black for you guys, but Gorgie Zhang is one of those guys I've always enjoyed watching. I do just like his mentality on the court and what he does. I totally agree with you. I don't know how he's not on one list. Even a third team. He's got to be somewhere. I will disagree, though. I don't think Peyton Siva will be an All-American. I think he's going to have a great season. I don't think he's going to have that All-American first team, second team type year. I just don't. I think his team's too deep for him to do that, but in my honest opinion. But that's not here or there.
And that's what I was going to say is that he's not going to average the numbers because normally with the All-Americans, like the Thomas Robinson last year for Kansas, you like to see that guy that's going to put up 20-plus points a game. And I think Gorgie will have the rebounds. I think he'll be around 9 to 12 rebounds a game, but his scoring average is probably going to be 9 or 10 points, which will keep him from being that. But I don't think that'll take away from him being the best big man in the country. I think he's going to
if you look at Anthony Davis, if you look at Anthony Davis for Sean last season, he only averaged around 12, 13, maybe 14 points, and right at the 9, 10 rebounds. But when you average 4 blocks and you help your team win by blocks, that shows the guys who do vote on this that that's very valuable. So I expect Gorgie to get a lot of look throughout the season. I think people just kind of put him under the radar. Which is good for Louisville. One of the best big men.
That was going to be what I was going to say, but the difference is between the two is that Gorgie Zhang does not have the reputation. Anthony Davis came in with the reputation of the number one player. So basically, he just had to be as good as advertised. I think that helped him as far as his candidacy for the number one player. Had he been an unknown player, not playing at Kentucky, maybe playing at some middle-of-the-road team or Northwestern or something like that, then I think he would have had a bigger issue getting that recognition. But because he was the number one player, he came in with the hype. He's playing for Kentucky, playing on a high level team, I think that definitely helped them out.
Yeah, for sure. Again, that scrimmage today, 4 o'clock p.m., right there in the Yum Center. You can actually go and watch, if you want to get there in the next 30, 45 minutes or so and watch the football game, you can do so. You're allowed to do that. You can go to the Yum Center and watch Louisville take on Pittsburgh, make it a kind of a full morning, afternoon for you and the family, and then check out, obviously, the Louisville scrimmage. If I'm correct, it's cheap to get in. I'm not for sure the exact price. Do you know, Rashawn?
It's going to be, I want to say it's $10 on the lower bowl on the ends, and it's $15 on the side in the lower bowl. So $15 is a great price. But I did also want to say the other two things I want to see. I want to see. I've heard so much about Kevin Ware and his development and how much better he's gotten with the move from point guard to shooting guard. Of course, remember last year Russ Smith made a similar transition from the point to the two, and everybody talked about how he was playing. Of course, Russ Smith was one of the best 6 men in the nation last year. So Kevin Ware, they said he's gone through a very, very similar transition. Coach Pitino says no doubt this young man is going to be the starting shooting guard for the University of Louisville. He's made that type of difference. And, of course, he was a top 50 player coming out of high school when he was a commitment. He was Tennessee's #1 commitment. So, I mean, he has the talent. I want to see what he's done to really make that next step. And then the last matchup I want to see, Shane Bohannon, of course, West MVP. I want to see the matchup of he and see what he's done to take his game to the next level. But I want to see him match up with Montrezl Harrell. Of course, he was a guy, Virginia Tech commitment, decommitted from Virginia Tech after Seth Greenberg got fired. Now he's with Louisville. I want to see how those two match up. They're going to be matched up against each other at that power forward spot. So I want to see how those guys go at it.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you that before I got to a little bit of football because we got about 3 minutes left here. Again, I have Rashawn Myers on, co-host of Mason and Myers in the Morning, weekdays 7 to 9 a.m. right here on 1450 AM. I filled in for Rashawn yesterday. It was a fun day. It was a UK show generally, and with the Mace Man, and I enjoy that. But I also enjoy filling in and talking with Rashawn. So I'm glad I had Rashawn on. Rashawn, Louisville Pittsburgh here in about 1 hour. What are your overall thoughts? Will Louisville win this game, and who will have who will be the reason?
Well, I tell you what, with these two, this will be the first team that Louisville's played in good weather, and that's what I'm going to say, in good weather, that plays basically your standard 3 yards in a cloud of dust kind of line up and run you over type of game. And I think that fits into what Louisville does very well defensively. I think that Louisville's going to be able to put points up today, but I think they're going to really get after Tino Sinceri. I think they're going to finally get some sacks. I think that the last 2 weeks against Florida International, against Southern Mississippi, in better weather conditions, I think Louisville would have dominated those 2 games. But because of the rain, because of the extenuating circumstances with FIU with the headsets and not being able to get the calls down, as well as the torrential downpour in Southern Mississippi and the field conditions, really hurt Louisville's offense. I think that Louisville's offense, because it's going to be dry out there, it's going to be a nice day, I think they're going to get back to getting up there, scoring those points, but I think that the defense is going to have a great shot. This head coach was a former coordinator at Wisconsin, and everybody knows, Badger ball is basically line it up and run you over. Unfortunately, they don't have the offensive line yet to be able to do that. They do have a great running back, Ray Graham, as well as a freshman, one of the top running backs in the country, Rochelle Shell. They have him as well. He was limited to 1 carry last week. He was dealing with some back spasms, so I don't know how much he's going to play today. But I don't think Pittsburgh is ready. They're still adjusting to this offense. I'm still wondering how they beat Virginia Tech, but now Virginia Tech is showing that they are not that good anyway.
No, they're not.
So I don't really know. I don't know where this Pittsburgh team is, but I do think that Louisville's going to come out, and I expect it, as I was listening to you earlier, I think it's going to be a 2 or 3 touchdown game at least today.
Yeah, I think it's time for Louisville to kind of show that they are that, they are worthy of that ranking, because like Mark said, a lot of people, at Harrison polls, a couple people aren't even ranking Louisville. So I think this is the game that Louisville comes out. I may be wrong, Pittsburgh, maybe it's that homecoming weekend, opening a basketball season that we absolutely love. Maybe they're hyped and they're going to come out hot. I guess you really never know till the kickoff, which is today, 1 hour from now. Rashawn, we're at the top of the hour. I appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your morning and talking with us about Louisville. Check Rashawn out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Go ahead.
And with the 11 o'clock tip, Tyler, I'm sure all 250 of the Pittsburgh fans that actually come to the game will be excited to go for that 11 a.m. kick.
Yeah, exactly. I'm hoping more than 4,000 at the UofL scrimmage today, Rashawn.
Exactly. You know what? I think the Louisville fans may outnumber the Pittsburgh fans today.
There you
Don't quote
go.
me on that, but I think it may just happen.
All right, Rashawn. Well, you have a good day, my man, and I'll be talking to you.
Hey, thanks, Tyler.
All right, this is the Weekend Sports Buzz. Good first hour. Second hour coming up. We're going to talk to Kenny from Knob Creek coming up right now. Nick Coffey, Eric Bachman, full second hour. This is your Weekend Sports Buzz.
This is the Weekend Sports Buzz. Tell us your thoughts on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line at 384-1450.
Welcome back to the Weekend Sports Buzz, Hour 2, up and running here on 1450 AM. You can always check us out on 1450thesportsbuzz.com. You have live feed right there. You know, you can listen to us anywhere across the country, overseas, and of course our iPhone and Android app. It's very clear. Download our app and listen to the Sports Buzz in crystal clear digital quality. Search 1450 The Sports Buzz in the iTunes App Store or Android Market. Powered by InsuramaX. Call Chad or Alan Hennessy 479-4085 for all your home, auto, and life needs. But we're going to hop to the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz line because I got my man Kenny on the line from Knob Creek Gun Range out there in West Point, Kentucky. Got a big event going on all weekend long. Kenny, good morning, sir.
Good morning to you.
Glad to have you on. I listened to you yesterday on Inside the Press Box with Handsome Jimmy and my man Kelly Patrick. Not the biggest gun guys, but you're speaking to a guy that owns a few weapons.
Cool.
Yeah,
so, always glad to do that.
Yeah, a big day, a big weekend, I should say, out at Knob Creek. I go out to Knob Creek about once a month with my roommates, and we get out there. It's a fun place to go. If you've never been there, you need to get out there because you can blow up anything, basically. Propane tanks, refrigerators, you can shoot cars. It's one great day, you know, for you and, you know, your buddies. But what's going on right now, Kenny, is the world's largest machine gun shoot. You can actually rent a machine gun. Tell us a little bit about it.
Our machine gun shoot is a 3-day event. It was yesterday, today, and tomorrow also. Today we'll be shooting from 9 until 10 this evening with our night shoot starting at 5 p.m.,
Mm-hmm.
running on up through 10, and that's when they do all the explosives and the tracer fire.
Yes.
In the evening. We have a gun show going on. There's over 1,000 tables in our gun show area for folks to buy, sell, and trade guns and ammo and gun parts and just military surplus. We have several different competitions going on today. We have the practical pistol match and a subgun match today. And then tomorrow, on Sunday, they have the assault shotgun competition. And just a big time for everybody.
Yeah, it is. It's a fun event. I know it's a big crowd gets out there. It's not just one time a year. It's actually a biannual event. It's typically held around, you know, the weekend of April, and then of course October. You know, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. It's a two times a year. It's a big thing. I know a lot of people nationally come out to the event. It was actually showcased on one of the television shows, I believe, a year or two ago, if I'm correct.
That is correct, yes, sir.
Yeah, so it's a big thing. Again, if you've never shot a machine gun, I've done it multiple times. It doesn't like Handsome Jimmy was saying. He sounds scared of the thing. It's not scary. You can get out there and you can control it, especially when you know they had their spotters right there helping you, teaching you how to do all of this. I mean, if you want to load up a clip, 3 clips, 5 clips, you can do it. You pay for it. You'll put all those shells down range. It's a fun day. It's 690 Ritchie Lane, West Point, Kentucky. Kenny, is there any event, people going to be out there that you know, anybody want to come see? Is it just guns?
It's guns. We'd like anybody to come out that wants to.
Mm-hmm.
They do have the machine gun rentals. That's running all day today and tomorrow at the lower range. So just come on out, bring a pocket full of money, and have some fun. If you're a grumpy old dude, shooting a machine gun will definitely put a smile on your face.
It does. Every time my roommate comes home from work, he's like, "Hey, you want to go to the range? I got some anger I need to let out." Yeah, sure. Let's go pump a clip or two. So it's a fun. It really is fun. I enjoy it. I'm actually going to be heading out there today, Kenny, around 1 or 2. So I'll come over and introduce myself. I'm excited to be out there. It's going to be a fun day. So Knob Creek Gun Range all day long, going until 10 o'clock. If you don't know what a tracer is, you need to go check out this night show because it's like a light show, fireworks, just a bunch of bullets going down range. Fun day. Kenny, I appreciate it. I'm sure we'll be talking to you tomorrow a few minutes to get that final day out there as well.
Right.
Knob Creek Gun Range.
Thank you very much. You have a good day.
All right, Kenny, you too.
Bye-bye.
Kenny, again, I'm going to be out there. It's going to be fun. Knob Creek, appreciate them, being a little part of 1450 here. It really is a fun event. I'm speaking to Matt and he's in the studio, one of my producers, and I know his family, they've never owned a BB gun before, let alone a machine gun, so he wouldn't really know. Man, have you ever shot a machine gun?
I've never shot a machine gun. I've shot a gun like 2 times.
Was it a BB gun?
Well, one was a BB gun. The other one was a 9mm, and I got a slide bite and a permanent scar to prove it.
Do you?
Yes.
Yes, you deserve it. Out of all people, you deserve it. Just because your brother, he didn't know you pump a BB gun to shoot it. I mean,
it was at Bud's Gun Range in I think it's Winchester or somewhere by Lexington. And
Shout out.
I was bleeding everywhere.
Yeah,
I felt really sick.
Well, this little scar, if you want to, you might be able to see it. KentuckySports.com/KentuckySports. Our live feed right now going on. You can see my beautiful face. I have a scar in between my eyes, Matt. When I was real young, first learning to shoot a rifle, I actually got scoped. The kick of the gun, I was a little too close to the scope. Boom, I was bleeding everywhere. My dad laughed. All his friends laughed. But I know I've never had a slide action chop my finger in half. So I'm ahead of the game with you. Anyways, 384-1450. If you've ever been out to that gun shoot, call me. I want to hear what your thoughts of it. I know a lot of people, like Carolina Steve. You called in yesterday. Your military time. You've shot those weapons before. If you've been out there and you've enjoyed this event, call me. Just let the people know why they should get out there. 384-1450, and of course, shoot Matt or Adam a text on the Lotus Gunworks text line 414-1450. Okay, here we're coming up at 10:20. My man Nick Coffey, he's on Inside the Press Box weekdays. Weekdays 5 to 6 in the afternoon. He's doing good stuff out there. A lot of cards followers. So we're going to talk to Nick a little bit, and then at 10:40, my man Eric Bachman. I love talking fantasy football. He's a big part of the KFFSC, that is Kentucky Fantasy Football State Championship League, ran by Farrell Elliott, the Big Freeze himself, who has a show on Wednesdays. So it's going to be a fun second hour. I want to talk a little bit, a little late last night. I'm not going to get too much late. Big Blue Madness, Matt. It was a fun evening out there. I know it was me and you last year. We got our first experience as the media world. This is, and now it's our second time around. It was a lot easier this year. I'm not going to lie. When one attribute, me and Brad Steen, that we didn't park in that main parking lot, Matt. What me and you did, where we had to wait an hour and a half to get out. We're smarter than that. We parked about just a few blocks away, real cheap, aka $10, not 20 of the arena area. So it was a good choice. But I know you didn't watch it, Matt. I was there. I recorded it. I got great video, great footage. KentuckySports.co. You can check us out. The pictures and videos we posted today. Also the Facebook page as well. The opening. I'm just going to start with the opening of the women's and the men's. It was the best opening I've seen. First off, the women came out as always. They start first. And then, they had projections over top of Rupp, shooting down awesome footage of all the women's, some highlights from last year. Each women themselves, as they would come out, get introduced, they'd be shot right there on the Rupp Arena floor itself. That was cool. But, then they got on with their the scrimmage came. But before the scrimmage, Matt, what everybody's there for, Matt Mitchell. Have you seen him dance yet?
I was actually reviewing some of the video back here. That's kind of why.
How my video?
It's pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
He awesome. Awesome dance.
I see what you're saying, how the media was on the opposite side, because you're basically looking at his back.
That's what I was going to say. Let me harp on that in a minute. But, yeah, Matthew Mitchell came out. He busted it out with some great moves again. You can check those videos out again. But then, the women got the scrimmage going on. This women's team is good. Everybody knows that. They're a top 5 team. They got a big matchup early in the season against Baylor in Cowboy Stadium. That Brittany Griner thing for the Baylor Bears they'll be taking on. But you got the scrimmage going. Just, typical scrimmage, no defense, blah, blah, blah. Then they get on, the men's. They bring out a big, I guess if you want to call it a green screen, but a white screen right over top of Rupp. Covered the whole Rupp, and then the projectors shoot down like it's a graphic of Rupp Arena. It looks like kind of like a video game type thing. It was awesome. Next thing you know, comes the best idea. I don't know who thought of this. They had old school plays like Rondo and Davenport, Tayshaun Prince's 5 threes. They had him played the sound, the commentation throughout Rupp with the play-by-play on the court, not video, arrows, what was going down. Great animations. Then followed up was, Coach Cal in his little speech. He came out with the introduction of the players. Archie Goodwin, all the players did a little dance. Archie Goodwin killed it. Kyle Wiltshire, he's going to be the man. He threw out a signed ball. I'm sure it was either this year's team or a national championship team, a signed autograph ball into the crowd. That was awesome. And then, the player's name, Cal came out. He recognized 1 or 2 players from every championship team. The best moment of the night, Wawa Jones. When Wawa Jones came out, the crowd erupted. 19, is he 58? Wawa Jones 58 or is he 51?
50-something.
I think it's 58, if I'm correct. I can't remember wrong because we had, there's people there from last night. Kyle Mason, Ron Mercer, Derek Anderson, a lot of people there. But Wawa Jones, when he came out, he was coming out, Derek Anderson, Jeff Shepard helping him out onto the court. The smile across his face when he got out there and the crowd erupted. You could tell that man was seriously loving it, man. I mean, it was awesome.
Did you get that on video?
I think I zoomed in on Wawa's face.
Cool.
It was seriously a great moment. Obviously, Derek Anderson, Ron Mercer, they enjoyed it. They got the wave in, but Wawa Jones, he'd probably never experienced anything like that, Matt. Being playing in the 50s Memorial, you didn't experience what he experienced last night.
Yeah, it's a different experience, I guess, once UK's tradition continues to build and build and build, and you got all these followers and crazy fans that UK has nowadays.
I mean,
somebody if he's experienced it before, it hasn't been in a long time. So.
It hasn't been since 1950.
Right.
I can tell you that, and it's been a long while. When he comes out, it's like he was never forgotten. It was a great time. Goose! I can't forget about Goose Givens. He came out, and of course the crowd erupted with the Goose chants. That was cool. It was seriously just a fun event. Then the team got on with their scrimmage. It was sloppy. It wasn't a scrimmage. It was just let's just show up. Put on a little dunk fest. Just have fun tonight. No injuries. The Big Blue scrimmage will be October 24th. So that's when fans can get a little bit of taste of what this team could possibly be for this upcoming season. But the whole event, to me, was one fun night. I think my man Brad would totally agree. I was sitting with my man Scott Anderson from the Nation of Blue. He does the show in the afternoon here on 1450, and we seriously were just videotaping some of the stuff, man, and it was just awesome. It really had a fun time. The crowd was very loud all night long. A lot of recruits in the building. I will say that. Won't throw out, everybody knows who was there. Multiple recruits, and each of them got the crowd, student section chanting their name. They'd stand up, give a little wave, sit back down, the crowd would go crazy, and the next player, and the next one. So it was all there. It was just a fun night. Cal Perry came out in a kiss. He did his little Cal Perry fist pump that I absolutely love. It's awesome, and gave a little speech, the political side of things that we just, Big Blue Nation, Big Blue fans absolutely love to hear. He knows how to talk. He does it right. Players First University. We're here to, we're here to better lives, Matt. That's what they do here at Kentucky. I know a lot of people say, one and done. We like to get to know our players. Well, guess what, fans? You don't know anybody. You didn't go up to Gorgie and say, hey, what are you doing tonight? What did you do last week? You saw him on a court for 40 minutes once every 4 nights. You don't know him. I don't care what you say. Anyways, let's get to this break. That's a little rant there. Oh, yeah. No, hold on. What you brought up to me, the media. I got a couple minutes here. The media, it was set up in our normal media section. Cool. Appreciate, us getting there. But the stage was on our side. Every player came out with their back was to us. And all the footage, their back was to us. So it was just not the best setup. I know they don't care about the media, what we think. But, I didn't tell you trying to just get a good picture. So it wasn't the best setup for.
It's all about the fans, Tyler.
I know it's about fans, and the fans.
Not
had
about you.
I know. I'm a fan. I'm a media fan. So maybe that's another reason I was a little disappointed because I wanted to see the stuff as well because I'm a fan. I'm a fan of this. I'm not a media. I'm a media. But I'm a fan first. So, I don't know. Anyways, 384-1450. Give us a shout if you were there last night. And if you're going to the Louisville scrimmage today, if you're going to watch that Louisville game here, getting kicked off in 40 minutes, call me, 384-1450. Get your prediction in. Coming up next, my man, Nick Coffey, if he's awake. I forgot to text him. We're going to talk to him a little bit about, today's events. So, stick with us, the Weekend Sports Buzz.
headset really loud?
Welcome back to the Weekend Sports Buzz. Call in on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line at 384-1450.
We're back here at the Weekend Sports Buzz. Got about 30 minutes left in the show here. If you all want to get in on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line, 384-1450. Give us a shout. Talk a little bit about cards, a little bit about the Cats, and, of course, the Lotus Gun Works text line. Shoot Matt a text message, 414-1450. We'll read that right over the air. And I am going to actually go to that Ford Lincoln Buzzline right now because I got the man from inside the press box, the creator of the CardinalConnect.com, Nick Coffey. Nick, what's up, my man?
I'm doing well, Tyler. How are you?
I'm doing great. Coming off a Big Blue Madness night. I couldn't be better.
I bet, man. I was last. This is a big sports weekend, but I'm actually involved in a wedding, so it's going to be a busy one for me. I'm going to be able to watch the big football game. I'm going to miss the red and white scrimmage, but I stayed in a house last night with about 8 to 10 guys who are all big UK fans. So all I heard about was Big Blue Madness. It was crazy.
Good. That's where you should be putting yourself more. You're involving yourself in the better crowd.
Oh my God! And I went to bed early because I wanted to dedicate myself, make sure I was ready to come on here and talk to you on the Sports Buzz and watch the U of L football game. But I couldn't. I don't know what the heck happened, but I guess Willie Cauley signed. Did he do something really good last night? Because I kept hearing people yelling about it.
Yeah, he dunked over Nerlens Noel. Nothing special. He's just a 7-footer. But that's not here or there, Nick. I want to talk to you a little bit about your Cardinals. Obviously, Nick, you are on the inside the press box. First off, 5 to 6 p.m. Right?
Yes, sir.
5 to 6 p.m. Weekdays right here on 1450. It's a good show. A lot of good Louisville followers until you listening to Nick. He's getting it done there. Today, though, Nick, you'll be watching the game here, getting kicked off in about 35 minutes. What are your thoughts for today? What are you looking for Louisville coming out?
I'm just really hoping, and I don't really know what to expect. It's either going to be I could see it being a little bit of a sluggish start just because of the 11 a.m. kickoff, but I don't know. For some reason, I have a feeling they're going to be focused because Charlie Strong has always been really good at finding ways to motivate his team, and I think they're going to come out motivated. He's kind of preaching that they don't give us any respect. We haven't played that well in the last couple games. Now there's a lot of talk of Cincinnati or Rutgers maybe being the new favorites for the Big East. But I'd be naive if I didn't recognize that. Pittsburgh has had Louisville's number for the last 5-6 years. Regardless of how well either team is doing, Pittsburgh's always just kind of been that thorn in Louisville's side. And I think this is the year to kind of change that with Louisville being better than they've been in quite some time, and Pittsburgh not having a great season. But, in the back of my mind, I know Pittsburgh's going to be a tough team. I think they're very physical, whatever the heck that means. All I've heard all week is that this is a very physical team. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a tough matchup. I definitely think on the front side, both sides of the ball. But, I think Louisville's ground game is really going to be the difference maker here.
Yeah, obviously, Pittsburgh is coming with a new coach, Paul Chryst, who I think was a good hire for them. They've had, over the last 3 seasons, issues with coaching, hiring a guy for 12 days, and then he's getting fired for beating people. And then, 1 year coach last year. So it's been, Paul Chryst, I think that was a good hire for them. But my man, I like Charlie Strong. But, Charlie Strong's coming into this game knowing that Pittsburgh can beat Louisville. At times they can play very well, but at times they're awful. They have Sunseri, the quarterback. He's thrown for around 1,400 yards. They also have rushed with Shell and Graham for combined around 700 yards. So there's a dynamic offense. They can go on the ground or put it in the air. The Louisville defense, is that kind of is that the key to winning today?
Sure, and I think this will be a game where I think if you're an outsider and you don't really follow either team closely, and Louisville was to really kind of contain that Pittsburgh offense, to me, it would mean something because this defense has struggled a little bit, and what people don't know, regardless of Pittsburgh's record, they do have some they have some talent on offense, and Sunseri, I think he's been there 15 years now. He's actually having a pretty solid year quietly, and I think this defense is up for their biggest task because you look at how they. I mean, honestly, it's a shock that this defense has not played well, and what makes it even worse is they haven't really played a lot of good offense either. I mean, they struggled. Of course, Southern Miss was in terrible conditions of the weather, and FIU, who's not very good either, and they just haven't played well all season. I think they're going to go up against one of their best offenses. I mean, the running back for Pitt, I don't know how his name escapes me. Is it Ray Graham?
It's Ray Graham and like Shalel Shell, something crazy.
Yeah, the young guy. And, I mean, those guys are as good as anybody that Louisville. I mean, Louisville played North Carolina and played well for, about a half. North Carolina's best player didn't play in that game. So a lot of people forget that. And they're going to go up against a couple guys today that are better than anybody that they've played. So I think Louisville this is going to be. It would surprise me if it's a tough game. And that's pitch that team that you mentioned. They can beat Louisville, and that's what a lot of people don't really understand because Louisville's undefeated, top 20. Pitt lost to Youngstown State. They struggled, but this is a team that can absolutely go out and beat Louisville. They've got the talent to do it, and that's what kind of scares you as a fan because you realize that this is a true test. You're playing a team that's 2-3. And it was kind of the joke of the Big East earlier on in the season. But this is a team that if Louisville comes out and plays, lethargic and doesn't come out ready to play, this is a team that can absolutely beat them.
Yeah, I was going to say, if they do get past today, 6-0, BCS comes out this weekend, I believe tonight, actually. If Louisville is not in that top 15, are you going to be pissed off?
In the BCS, I wouldn't be pissed off, and I wouldn't be surprised if they were not. But they've definitely got to start really, really doing some work. And I'm not one of those guys who, overthinks things. But I really do think that if Louisville really and I think next year really is the year for Louisville to make a national scene kind of splash. They're going to have a good season this year, and they should get to a good bowl. But next year is the year. But if you look at the losses that other teams have had this year, had Louisville gone out and beaten the teams badly that they were supposed to beat badly, they probably would be sitting at about 11 or 12 in the AP poll. When you beat Southern Miss like you did and FIU like you did, there's room for other teams to kind of sneak up there. So if they don't get in there, I wouldn't be surprised. But like I said, I'm right now. I think there's so much to be learned about this Louisville team. I think they've got talent. They've got young guys that were big players last year, and they've kind of made the jump this year. But with 5-0, there's a lot of things we still haven't seen yet. Because to be honest with you, they haven't been tested. And the talk about Louisville's schedule being bad before the season started, we heard all about it, and it's actually lived up to it. And been even worse than we thought. I mean, I think the combined record for Louisville's opponents is 6-26. So they're 5-0, but they haven't really been tested yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would totally agree. You made a good point. The schedule is not the greatest, but they've won those games, so you can't be disappointed with that. Transition a little bit, obviously. The kickoff here in 30 minutes, so tune into that one. Basketball, Big Blue Madness kicked off last night. We talked about that. All the other madnesses got kicked off. Before I get into your scrimmage today, I wanted to see if you saw this last night in Syracuse at their Midnight Madness. A man was stabbed.
He was stabbed.
He was stabbed. He was stabbed. So anybody that makes fun of Kentucky, a random guy for shooting somebody during the championship. Well, we didn't stab anybody during our Big Blue Madness. I mean, somebody got stabbed for Syracuse. That just shows what I don't know. Yeah, I didn't think you saw that. I was texting you late last night.
I hope nobody gets stabbed today at the Yum Center.
I hope nobody gets stabbed at the Yum Center as well. But that is at 4 o'clock today. The scrimmage, Patino said it's going to be a full scrimmage. Full. Put our helmets on, bang it up. Are you worried about any injury? I'm not saying are you worried about injuries. Are you worried about, they're coming out hot right away?
Nobody gets injured because but it would just seem to follow the storyline if somebody does get injured. That's the story of this program in the last 3 or 4 years. It's unreal. But today's scrimmage, I actually think I'm not going to be able to see it because I got the wedding, but it's going to be competitive, and that's kind of what I'm excited about is the fact that he actually did make some adjustments to the lineup and should put Shane Behanan on the second string team. Turns out he did that because he's coming back from a minor injury, and Russ Smith's on that team as well, and he's just, he's going to give people hell. So I think it's going to be competitive. But the biggest thing I want to see is Luke Hancock. I want to see if he can come out and he won't play. I don't think he's going to play a whole lot because he's still coming back from an injury, but he's that one guy that is supposed to be a key part of this team, and we've never actually seen them play. And Kentucky does it every year, waiting for the new guys to come out, the young guys, to see how they can perform. So there's always some excitement there. But to be honest with you, I think fans kind of know what to expect with Gorky Zhang. They kind of know what to expect from Peyton Siva. This is the same team we had last year. But Luke Hancock is a guy that we've heard of. I mean, Rick Pitino said in the press conference last season that he was the best player on the team, and he wasn't even eligible because he transferred. So when you put those kind of expectations on someone, and knowing that he's going to have to be one of the key shooters on this team, I think a lot of people are just excited to actually get out there and see him play.
Yeah, what I've noticed so far is from a couple people I've talked to today, and over the last week or so leading into today's scrimmages, the diversity of what people are looking for. You just said yourself, you're looking at Luke Hancock. Rashawn, he's looking at the Montrezl Harrell Shane Bohannon matchup, and then earlier we had Mark. He's looking at Gorky Zhang, putting on mass weight. So Louisville fans seem to be very, very excited about not just one guy, two guys, but this whole team. And coming from my standpoint as a Kentucky fan, I really do think this Louisville team is, I expect both Kentucky and Louisville to make it back to the Final Four. It is today. I know you can't get there. Other than Luke Hancock, do you expect Pitino to, is he going to try anything different this year, or is it going to be traditional Pitino-style basketball?
That's a really good question. I'm really glad you asked that, Tyler, because one thing, and I like Rick Pitino. I'm a fan of Louisville basketball, the program, and I think he's not one of those guys that wanted him fired and wanted to change last season. But I do think there's been times there's been a lot of times where Louisville has won with less talent because they had good coaching from Rick Pitino. There's also been times, I can't believe I'm saying this, but when you look at John Calipari and how he's able to take talent and kind of just let him play, and not to insult him and say that they roll the ball out and make it an AAU scrimmage, but those guys just play their game, and it doesn't make things too complicated. Pitino, there's one thing that kind of scares me about this season. It's not the coaching of Rick Pitino. I just hope he finds a way to make it all work, because this is that he's had since he's been at Louisville. I think that I see guys playing, thinking that they're going to make mistakes and have to come out of the game. I just would love to see them actually just play their game. And sometimes, obviously, Rick Pitino, his scouting, his preparation has won a lot of games for Louisville, but I just hope they don't overthink it this year, and I hope they don't feel the pressure, because I really do think this is the most pressure not only the fan base has been on, but I think if Rick Pitino is going to win a national championship, anytime you set yourself up with national championship expectations heading into the season, you're setting yourself up for failure, because not only do you have to have a good team, you have to have some luck on your side as well. But with that said, if Louisville is going to win the championship at any point, this is the year to do it, because college basketball as a whole is slightly down. Louisville brings back a lot of talent from last year's team, and hopefully a guy like Wayne Blackshear and Shane Bohannon, those guys are going to be even better. And I just really, really hope that, we see Pitino basketball, but then again, just let these guys play their game, because the talent's there. Just let them use that, and let's not overdo it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Nick, I appreciate you taking a few moments out of the morning. I'll let you go prime yourself for this Louisville game and that wedding. I'm sure there's some pregame going down. But, of course, you can check out Nick every weekday, 5 to 6 on Inside the Press Box right here on 1450. And check out the website, thecardinalconnect.com. Good stuff right there, Nick. You have yourself a good Saturday, my man, and good luck.
Thanks, Kyle. I appreciate it. Thanks, Matt, as well. Take it easy, guys.
All right, man. Nick Coffey there, CardinalConnect.com. I think, Louisville fans are excited, as Kentucky fans are excited for basketball season. I spoke to some fans last night at Big Blue Madness. It was what can I say is not one of them was disappointed to be where they were. Matt, you're a huge UK fan yourself. Are you a Big Blue Madness type guy? Or, could you just kind of, miss that, just get on to the season?
I was broadcasting the high school game, South Oldham versus Scott yesterday.
Who won that game?
South Oldham creamed them by like 40-something to 14.
I was going to get into some high school scores here in a minute. Yeah, go ahead.
But just to prove the point that I was upset that I was missing it, I talked. Usually I'm just there doing the camera stuff, but there were several of the people next to me doing video camera stuff too. We were just talking back and forth about how much we'd rather be at Big Blue Madness than where we were. But
that's really no question.
I kept getting text updates and
you saw all my beautiful pictures.
All the pictures and
a lot of pictures on there. A lot of good photos. Actually, a couple people just You can comment on them, so you can check those out.
I was freezing in 30-degree weather.
I was warm in the Rupp Arena. It was great. Me and Brad were having one hell of a night together. But, yeah, I was in a little bit of high school scores last night. Trinity did take out Male. Oldham County got blasted by Eastern. Like Matt just said, South Oldham, who was having a very, very good season, did take out Scott County. Seems pretty handily. So, high school football, Trinity, they're just getting it done. It's really no doubt of who's going to win state this year, but it's just who's going to come into second. You can check out the high school sports scores up and down if you want to check out your alma mater throughout the state at KentuckySports.co. The most recent blog is that. Before I do get to this break and get my man Eric Bachman on, well, my internet stopped. Where did we go?
Can I bring up a text that we just got?
Yeah.
It's about you, so you might want to.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It says, rumor has it that Tyler was a Louisville fan for a month in high school. Fess up, Tyler, is what it says.
I believe that was the Billy Gillespie era, and I was super pissed off, and I was like, I'm getting screwed, I'm a Louisville fan, and I was just totally joking around. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm not fessing up to anything. I'm a Kentucky fan. You can look back at my pictures when I was a baby. I don't care. I'm never a Louisville fan. I know who sent that text in, so I won't call you out. I know exactly who that was. I will talk to them off air privately. We'll turn into ESPN. It looks like we got 21-25 till kickoff. They're showing Teddy at Heinz Field. That stadium is gigantic. I'm not a big college football played in NFL stadium unless you're Alabama and you can bring 190,000 to a football game. But that's yeah. Quickly though, before I get to this break, CBS and NBC Sports were over the week. Put their preseason awards. They're all Americans. NBC Sports had Nerlens Noel, as CBS did in their second team, I do believe. All freshman team for NBC. They had Nerlens, Alex Poitras in there. It's gonna be a fun year. CBS top 100 players had 4 players from not only Kentucky and Louisville. Nerlens Noel, Archie Goodwin, Alex Poitras, Ryan Harrell, all in the top 64. And then for Louisville, Shane Behan and Peyton Siva, Gorgie Zhang, and I'm missing a name. Russ Smith possibly. I'm missing one big name. But they were all in the top 60 as well. So it's just going to be a Bermuda Triangle of Kentucky, Louisville, Indiana this season for college basketball. I cannot wait. But I know Louisville, you're still in your great football season still going on, and you got a game coming up here very soon. So don't skip up your card football gridiron for that number 1 preseason ranking, because you got a big bowl aspirations ahead of you. I hate to say it. You all could. BCS Bowl is in your all's near future. I don't like that, but congrats to you Cardinals. 384-1450. Let's get to this break. The last segment, I'm going to talk to Balky, my man, Eric Bachman, fantasy football champion. He's great. He knows all your updates. So if you're freaking out about something for this Sunday, and if you need a question, 384-1450, ask Eric. He'll give you the answer, and you'll win your league. This is the Weekend Sports Buzz.
So why should I wait? And in the blink of an eye, the past begins to fade. So have you ever been caught in a sea?
Now back to the Weekend Sports Buzz. Let us know what you think. Give us a call on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line at 384-1450.
We're back here at the Weekend Sports Buzz, 1450 AM, 1450 to sportsbuzz.com. That song kind of is a good intro to this segment because I always want to kill myself for fantasy football talk. And on that, I got my man, Eric Bachman, from the Fantasy Football Hour on blogtalkradio.com, right up from Wisconsin. Eric, good morning, my man.
Hey, how's it going, Tyler?
We're doing good down here in Louisville. How's everything up there in Wisconsin?
I won't know yet because I'm actually at the Fort Myers Airport in Florida right now, flying back to Wisconsin today.
I would assume you'd probably rather stay down in the warm weather, huh?
I've been down here for 4 days, and it's very tough to go back.
Yeah.
I've been checking the weather up in Wisconsin. We're looking at high 20s, low 30s, rain. It's going to be great.
It's going to be an excellent, way to get back to the hometown. Here in Louisville, it's starting to get cold, and I'm not happy. Can't wait to get down south at some point. But again, Eric Bachman, he is, one of my favorite fantasy guys. I got to meet him a few months ago at the KFFSC draft here in Horseshoe, Indiana for the KFFSC League. It was fun. I'm glad you and Gerzak got down because we enjoyed having you on the show, man.
Oh, it was a blast being on. You guys you put on. It was a great event. I mean, you had people on. You had Brad Taylor, Jason Kahn, and all his Kahnites from Cleveland, and everybody there. It's a great time, man. Just playing in it, hanging out with everybody. It's awesome.
Yeah, where was Jason Kahn? Actually, one of his guys actually got arrested when they were partying a little too hard. But it's crazy. But my man Eric, we got you on a little bit of fantasy talk here. You have multiple teams in multiple leagues across, probably every state in America here. But you are in the KFFSC in the main event. You have one team, Lenny Lyles. They're struggling. But how's your overall consensus doing this season in all your leagues?
I'm off to a really good start, I would say. It's kind of frustrating because I felt like I was getting Greg Jennings and Hakeem Nicks and Aaron Hernandez falling to me in a lot of spots. And I thought I was getting good value on them. But, with these early season injuries, thank God I had some depth on my teams to kind of, prevent that from being a huge problem for me. But even still, it's frustrating, man. And now Jennings is already out this week, but hopefully I get Nicks and Hernandez back.
I'm excited that Jennings is out. I hope he's out every week because I got James Jones in there just doing things the past couple of weeks. I picked him up in my last pick of the league, so that was a very, very good pick for me late. One pick that you probably laugh at, Kevin Smith. He was my fourth-round pick.
It's interesting to look back on these now because back then it's like Kevin Smith could have been like a 15 to 20 touch a game guy on an elite offense. And now all of a sudden LaShore's healthy. Javid Best is taking a concussion test, and he might be coming back soon. And that Detroit offense hasn't looked that great anyway. So it's frustrating to look back on it and to try to wish that there was a way you could have avoided those landmines, but sometimes it's tough to pass on them. If I had to do it all over again, I'd let Greg Jennings go another round. I'd let Hakeem Nicks go another round. But that's fantasy football, man.
I took Shady McCoy to first round. He's having a decent season. He's not having a number one pick season. I can tell you that. I will tell you, if I could do it again, I wouldn't have drafted Matt Stafford. He's awful right now. But I will. We were talking over the weekend about I've got Fitzpatrick and how it'd be tough to start Fitz over Stafford. But I'm leaning towards that point. I wanted to ask you though, did you take part in the Vegas League this year?
I was out there working and facilitating a lot of drafts. I did not draft any teams out there in Las Vegas, but I was out there for a week and met a lot of the people who did play. Wow, those are some good guys to hang out with and very competitive guys in the fantasy leagues as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, tell us just people around here. Obviously, we have the KFFSC. Not many people get outside of that, and especially out to Vegas. Is that just one hell of an environment? A weekend or whatever, so it is.
When you're out there, the FFPC started events on, I think, Wednesday for that opening NFL game. And then, they run stuff all the way, through, Thursday, Friday, all the way through Saturday night. So, and then, everybody kind of branches off and does their own thing to watch games on Sunday. But you're talking about, hundreds of guys out there. Some of them have played in Kentucky and, some of the people I recognize there, but it's a whole different animal, out there.
Yeah, it is. It really is. I hope to get out there for one year, even if it's down the road. I will definitely get out there and join you guys. Again, Eric Bachman is from Wisconsin. You and the gang make the road trip down. We're affectionately referred to as the Wisconsin Mafia. The Wisconsin Mafia. I like that. I like that. I was listening to Farrell Elliott, his show on Wednesday, and he had one of your guys that was, y'all ride down together. So is that just how long does it take?
It was, we rode down let's see, it was probably about an 8-hour trip. We stopped, I think, twice on the way down, but altogether it was about 8 hours. But it's a lot of fun because that's when, we kind of get together and talk fantasy for 8 straight hours to prime ourselves for Kentucky and kind of get on the same page and know what we're doing. And then, we just go out and draft. Exactly. That's my next point. I was going to say, is that just a plethora of information, or is it kind of, I can't tell you, man, I'm just doing my own thing? It gets heated. Sometimes, and we have debates about different players and who we like and who we don't like. But that's when we pull over and find a watering hole and just settle it over a beer. That's usually what it comes to. It's the easiest way to do that. Just a few adult beverages, get the fist flying, especially inside the minivan on the ride down. Eric, this weekend, we're the season's flying by. It really is. Who maybe a guy in the waiver wires, or a guy that you like this week to put up some major numbers, that a guy that's not your normal player? Well, I think it kind of goes without saying that Vic Ballard should have a big week. With Donald Brown being out, Ballard was a guy who I drafted Donald Brown on a bunch of teams, and I already had Ballard as my handcuff. But in a lot of leagues where I didn't even have Brown at all, I was still targeting Ballard, and so I think he's obviously going to have a big week this week. That's a guy that you should be looking at if you're looking for running back help. And if you play in any deep leagues, I know he got added to the injury report. I don't think he's been declared out yet, but DJ Williams, the backup tight end for the Packers, he could step in for Jermichael Finley, who really hasn't practiced all week, and that guy could be a sneaky tight end play, especially if you play in those leagues like FFPC, where it offers 1.5 points per catch for tight ends. DJ Williams could be a sneaky plug-in player if you're missing like a guy on bye this week. If Jimmy Graham owners need a tight end, DJ Williams would be a good guy to pick up. Just make sure you're watching those injury reports tomorrow morning. Yeah, for sure. I'm glad you brought up the Packers there. What about that running back situation? Cedric Benson, he's out for definitely weeks. They're hoping he comes back for the final 3-4 weeks. What about there? Picking up a guy from in that area. Yeah, I think that would be a good guy too. To target, to get like an Alex Green, a James Starks, any of those guys. Those would be guys that probably already owned in a lot of leagues. But I think that if they're still out there right now, try to get Green. He's the guy to target. But if you don't get him, take Starks, because that's a guy who could be a 10 to 15 touch a week guy too if Green falters, and he hasn't really run with that job. Starks could be the man the rest of the year. Yeah, I actually lucked into this. I have James Starks. I picked him second to last. I was like, I'm just going to take him. I know I'll probably never play him. I lucked into that one. He's just sitting there waiting to get some PT. So I'm going to try him. A couple other. Have you had any? Have you waiver wire maneuvers? Have you just pulled anything out and just really helped you? Because I can tell you, the last 3 weeks, I picked up Heath Miller, Jackie Battle, and Isaac Redmond. It helped tremendously. That's wow, that's pretty impressive. Heath Miller was on your waiver wire. That's crazy. Somebody dropped him. Yeah, that's a good snag. I know in one of my other leagues, that one of the higher stakes ones, somebody dropped Greg Little. Wow. And my co-owner and I, we snatched him up. And again, he's been kind of underperforming, but I think at some point that is going to pay off for us, where we can plug him in when we're that's again another Hakeem Nicks team. So if Nicks is dinged up, I'll feel comfortable starting Greg Little in there. I don't think he's going to be this bad all season. I think eventually he's going to get his stuff together and have 3 or 4 really, really good weeks. Yeah, I totally agree with you. That's a Greg Little dropping. It's like the Heath Miller. I saw Heath Miller. I was very surprised that some idiot commissioner that I was a big fan of dropped him, so I picked him up. Eric,
what is, to tell us a little bit about where people can listen to you and, what you and the guys do.
Oh, absolutely. You can listen to our show. It's myself and Dave Gerzak, you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
The High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour is the name of the show. It airs every Friday night at 10 o'clock Eastern Time, blogtalkradio.com/HSFF. If you can't listen live, you can download our podcast on iTunes later. It's free. We're not charging because we want everybody to listen, and nobody should have to pay for the substandard content we put out. So it's a fun show. We usually recap, kind of what happened in the Thursday game. We'll do some previews of the upcoming games. We'll also, answer emails, tweets, everything like that. I think my favorite part of the show is we actually have high stakes players come on. And we'll, sit down with an interview with them for 25, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Last night we had Matthew Brown, who's actually in first place in the Fantasy Football Players Championship overall main event right now. And this is his first year playing high stakes fantasy. So it's obviously, he's really excited. He was great to have on the show last night. But if you ever that's who I, draw my insight from and my tips and my advice is these people that, spend tens of thousands of dollars on entry fees alone every year. They're the ones who are most serious about it. So if you ever want, the best possible fantasy knowledge, listen to the players, and we try to feature a different one every week.
Yeah, I've been tuning in the last couple of weeks. I really enjoy listening to your show. It's not one of those dull, today we have this and that. It's all entertainment. It's all joking, and that's why I like to bring Balky on, our show, because it's not just, stats, numbers. It's, we like to have fun here. And, on that note, you're heading back home here from the old sunny Florida, heading up to old cold Wisconsin. Your Green Bay Packers taking on those Texans today. What's going on with your Packers? And, what's going on?
I think myself included, I think we all overestimated how good the Packers actually were this year. I don't think that they're playing poorly. I just don't think that they're as good as everybody thinks they are. Obviously, they have some offensive line problems. The defense, I think a lot of the guys that they drafted this year quite simply are just too young and not ready. And, smart offensive coordinators are finding the weaknesses there. And the opposing defenses are doing a really good job of, really bodying up and muscling Jordy Nelson and James Jones, Driver, Jennings, and Finley, and all those guys. They're doing a better job this year defending the Packers. And I'm hoping that Green Bay will still make the playoffs, but I don't see a win this week, and it's going to be tough to get in when you start off your first 6 weeks 2-4.
Yeah, a tough loss last week to Indianapolis. I was watching that game. I didn't really thought that was just going to get out of control. I was nervous because James Jones wasn't going to get any more receptions, but then, they couldn't just move the ball. I'm disappointed. I like the Packers. Are you a Wisconsin? Are you a Badger?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big Badgers fan, and I think everything I just said about the Packers, I could say about the Badgers too. Totally underperforming this year. Offensive line issues. Defense is not as good as I think people think it is, and they got Purdue today, I believe.
Yes.
So that that's not going to be an easy game. It's tough. Football is king in Wisconsin, and right now a lot of people are pulling their hair out and wringing their hands a little bit more than they normally do in October.
Yeah, like you said that football's king in Wisconsin. Your basketball team though lately, it's been brutal. I don't know if you're a big basketball guy, but the Wisconsin Badgers basketball program with it's been doing it the last couple of years, and this year they got a good shot at making a fall run.
They have a freshman this year who actually went to his name's escaping me right now, but he played in Wisconsin. It's pretty rare that you get a guy
Decker.
who is Sam Decker. Thank you very much, Sam Decker. He was a 5-star blue chip recruit. You don't get too many of those up in Wisconsin. So the fact that Bo Ryan and the Badgers were able to get him to commit, I think he's a perfect fit for that offense. He's a matchup nightmare for no matter who's covering him. He can play the point. He can drop down and play the 3 or the 4 just as easily. He's perfect for that swing offense. I'm very excited for the Badgers basketball season this year.
There you go, an all-around sports guy, my man Eric Bachman, Blog Talk Radio every Friday night. Check him out. I appreciate you coming on, man. I'm sure I'll get you on here before the season ends again.
Can't wait. This was fun. Thanks, man. Good luck this weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
You too, man. Eric Bachman, fantasy football high stakes player. He's great. I enjoy talking to Balky. It's been a fun show. A lot of insight from Nick, Rashawn, Eric, Mark. We got it in today. Tomorrow, myself and Kelly Patrick will be taking on 10 to 12, breaking down, this Louisville game, the Kentucky game, Louisville scrimmage. We're going to talk to Mo Egger from the Reds. Little heartbreak. Talk to him about this season, next season. Anyways, thanks for listening. This is the Weekend Sports Buzz.